From Capital Public Radio in Sacramento, this is Insight. I'm Beth Ruyak. $390.53 million, that's the bottom line on the preview term sheet that spells out the math on an arena agreement for the city of Sacramento that is still in the tentative stages, but it is March 1st, and the deadline to have a deal, at least on paper, has been met. Capital Public Radio reporter Bob Moffett joins us in the studio to talk more about this big news for the city today. Hi, Bob.
Good morning.
So you were there yesterday for this preview sheet, and we're calling it a preview because I guess the final version comes out later today?
Yes, if the entire deal only encompassed one page with printed words on front and back, then everything would be easy, I guess.
Okay, so run down the preview. What's the fine print of it say?
Well, the big numbers for the city of Sacramento are just to discuss more than $255 million. The Sacramento Kings, the Maloof family, would pitch in a little more than $73 million. The Anschutz Entertainment Group would be the operator of the arena, and they kick in almost $59 million. And then the Brick by Brick Capital Campaign, which requires those that would like to donate to the cause to bring an arena to the city of Sacramento, that comes in about $3 million.
$255.5 million for the city of Sacramento, which is about 65% of this overall plan. And how does that math add up for the city?
Well, that's still to be determined somewhat. We know that at least $170 million is going to come from leasing out the city's parking operations because, and we know this is $170 million, because in order to bid on this project, the companies that are bidding have to sign a waiver that says we will come up with at least $170 million. Mm-hmm. Now, the city is obviously hoping that the final number will be very close to the 255. But if it's not, then the city is prepared to go ahead with a 5% ticket surcharge and perhaps other possible one-time ticket fees or taxes. In addition, they've been talking about using cell phone tower revenue and also digital signage revenue to try to kick in just a little bit to fill in any gaps.
Well, there are still a number of unknowns there and a lot of questions by a lot of people who are wondering how secure that formula will be. You were in the mayor's office yesterday talking with his chief of staff, Kunal Merchant, at the time of the release of this preview. So let's hear a little bit from his comments yesterday about this.
In the event that we're not able to generate the full amount of the city's contribution to the entertainment and sports complex from parking, we have other sources online. We've talked about potentially selling underutilized parcels of public land, if it makes sense, at the right time to generate dollars as well. That's another big option on the table.
So that's the place where, are we going to see any more details today in the final term sheet?
We should see an expanded version of this, I think, with more options. What Kunal was referencing were some of the city-owned properties that could be sold outright in order to raise money for this. And
some of that includes the Natomas land that the arena is already sitting on.
Well, the Natomas land is actually going to be owned by the Maloofs once the bonds issue is taken care of, and that's a whole different subject, which is in order for this to happen, the Maloofs have to satisfy the loan that they currently owe, which is about $70 million for the Power Balance Pavilion and the Natomas land that it sits on. In order for them to leave that, they have to satisfy that loan. So what the city has done is come through and said, we're going to issue new bonds, in essence refinancing the loan, just as back in the old days when you could refinance your house when it actually went up in value instead of down.
I remember those days.
Yeah, it was a fun time. So the city's going to do that. They're going to issue new bonds. People are going to buy those bonds. The money then goes to the Maloofs, who then pay off that loan because they don't have $70 million to pay off the loan. But the bonds money that comes in will pay off the loan. The Maloofs will still owe the same amount. It's just transferring one loan, their debt from one loan to another loan. So they're not really the terms will be a little bit better because the interest rates will be a little bit lower, but otherwise they're not really getting one over on the city.
And we have more on that from the mayor's chief of staff as he was referencing this loan situation.
The current loan will be paid off, and the way we'll do that is by issuing a new loan that the Kings will continue to make payments on. So the city's at no net additional risk than where it is right now, but the Kings will be able to leave the current facility in 2015 having paid off the old loan and have a new loan that it makes sense for the city. And we're only going to move forward if it makes sense for the city and we have adequate protections and collateral and all of that.
We should say that part of this agreement is that the Kings have agreed to stay for 30 years, regardless of who the owners are.
It is. It's a 30-year lease, and according to the revenue sharing plan, the city's going to receive a certain percentage of the profits. And this kind of leads us into how the general fund will be made whole once the arena is built. The city's scheduled to receive 15% of the first $10 million made by the arena every year. So that's $1.5 million. In the event that there is an additional $5 million made, if an arena makes $15 million a year, then from the $10 to $15 million dollar level, then the city makes 30% of that. And then if there's money made on top of that, in addition to $15 million, then